Biggest misunderstandings people have about moving to Australia. You absolutely can get permanent residency even if you don't have a job offer in hand. A lot of people think it's impossible, like trying to get into a concert without a ticket, but the truth is, Australia's immigration system isn't just for people who already have an employer lined up. In fact, in many cases, they're actively looking for people without job offers because they value skills and qualifications above anything else. The Australian government runs a points-based immigration system that's designed to attract talented people from around the world, not just those with an employment contract already signed. They know that talent comes in all forms, and sometimes the most skilled people aren't the ones who are already employed in Australia. So, if you've been thinking I can't get in without a job offer, it's time to drop that idea completely. As long as you have the right qualifications, work experience, English proficiency, and a skill that's in demand, you could be on your way to Australian PR. This system is about matching. If your profile matches what the government is looking for, you could be invited without a single company knowing your name yet. Think of it less like a traditional job hunt and more like creating a profile that attracts the right kind of attention from the people who matter. Here's where the big myth comes in. So many people believe that unless you already have a job in Australia, you might as well not bother applying. It couldn't be further from the truth. The skilled migration system is designed to work independently from employers. Yes, having a job offer can sometimes make things quicker or easier, but it's by no means the only way in. The truth is, if you've got the skills, the qualifications, and the points, the government is just as happy to bring you in as someone with a signed job contract. Let's talk about the types of visas you can apply for without a job offer. First, up is the Skilled Independent Visa, Subclass 189. This one is for people who don't have a sponsor, don't have an employer waiting for them, but do have a skill that Australia needs. If your occupation is on the skilled occupation list and you score enough points, you could be invited to apply. This visa gives you permanent residency straight away, meaning you can live anywhere in Australia, work for any employer, and even change jobs freely. The only downside? It's competitive. You usually need a high score to get invited, often somewhere between 85 and 95 points, or even more depending on your occupation. But if you can get those points, this is one of the cleanest, most flexible ways to become an Australian permanent resident without a job offer. Next, we have the Skilled Nominated Visa, Subclass 190. This is a bit more collaborative. You still don't need an employer, but you do need a state or territory government to nominate you. If they like your profile and you're on their occupation list, they'll nominate you and give you an extra 5 points towards your score. You'll need to live and work in that state for a couple of years, but after that, you're free to move around. It's also permanent residency from day one, so you get all the benefits right away. This visa is a great option for people who might not have enough points for the 189, but still have a skill that's in demand in a particular part of Australia. Then there's the Skilled Work Regional Provisional Visa, Subclass 491. This one is technically temporary at first, valid for 5 years, but it's designed to lead to permanent residency. You can be sponsored by a state government or even by an eligible relative living in a designated regional area. No job offer required. You live and work in a regional area for 3 years. Meet the income requirements, and then you can apply for permanent residency. And by regional, don't picture endless deserts places like Adelaide. Hobart and the Gold Coast count as regional and are vibrant modern cities with plenty of opportunities. So, how do you actually go about getting one of these visas? Without a job offer? First, check if your occupation is on one of the skilled occupation lists. There are multiple lists depending on the visa, so you need to find the right one for your occupation. If your job isn't on any list, you won't be eligible for these visas right now, but occupations change over time. So it's worth checking regularly Second, get a skills assessment. You can't just say, "I'm an accountant," and expect Australia to take your word for it. You'll need to be assessed by the relevant authority for your occupation, whether that's engineers, Australia, MIRA Society, or another body. They'll look at your qualifications and your work experience to see if they match Australian standards. Without this, your application won't go anywhere. Third, calculate your points. The minimum score you need to be eligible is 65, but the reality is that the higher your score, the better your chances of getting invited. You can get points for your age, your English language ability, your education, your work experience both in Australia and overseas, your partner skills, and whether you have a state or territory nomination. High English test scores can add a lot of points, so it's worth putting in the effort to get the best score you can. Fourth, submit an expression of interest, EOI, through SkillSelect. This isn't a visa application. It's basically your way of saying, "I'm interested. Here's my profile." State governments and the federal government will then look at EOS and send invitations to the people they want to apply. You can't pay to jump the queue, and you can't apply directly for these visas without first getting an invitation. Fifth, wait for an invitation. This is the part that can test your patience. Depending on your occupation and your point score, you might get an invitation quickly or you might be waiting months. You can improve your chances by applying to multiple states. Keeping your EOI updated, making sure you've squeezed every possible point out of your profile. Once you get an invitation, that's when you submit the actual visa application. You'll need to provide all your documents, pay the application fee, and then wait for processing. Processing times can range from a few months to over a year, depending on the visa type and your individual case. But if all goes well, you'll end up with either permanent residency straight away or a provisional visa that leads to it. Let's clear up some other common misconceptions. A lot of people think you need Australian work experience to get in. You don't. It can help, but strong overseas work experience and good English scores can make you just as competitive. Some worry that being over 40 will ruin their chances. Yes, you lose points for age, but if you have strong qualifications and can get a state nomination, it's still very possible. And then there's the idea that if you don't have a job offer, you won't survive once you land. The reality is, many people get their PR first. Then start job hunting in Australia. If you've been assessed as skilled enough for PR, you probably have the skills to find work once you arrive. And finally, don't be put off by the term regional. Many regional areas in Australia are thriving cities with great infrastructure, job opportunities, and lifestyles. The government is actively encouraging skilled migrants to settle in these areas, which can sometimes make it easier to get nominated for a visa if you're open to living there. Here are some bonus tips to boost your chances. First, focus on your English test. High scores can give you up to 20 extra points. And that can be the difference between waiting years and getting invited quickly. Second, don't just target the most popular states like New South Wales or Victoria. Apply to less popular states such as Tasmania, South Australia, or the Northern Territory, which often have lower thresholds because they want more migrants. Third, always have a backup plan. If your points aren't high enough right now, consider other visas like student visas or temporary skilled visas that can eventually lead to PR at the end of the day. Getting Australian PR without a job offer is about having the right strategy. It's about knowing which visas are open to you, getting your skills assessment done properly, maximizing your points, and being patient while waiting for an invitation. It's not a lottery. It's a structured, points-based system where preparation and persistence pay off. If you play it right, you could be living in Australia permanently without ever having sent a single job application before you